Everyone, this is Ahmad Mor Thursday. As you know, we bring honored guests, clients, colleagues to inform, educate, and assist our colleagues in different spectrum of business that they are involved, from tech side to marketing to distribution. And one of the area that today we have the pleasure of having Dr. Raymond Pele is the founder of Big Ticket Clients, where he helps innovative consultants and coaches being their highest value clients in 90 days or less on LinkedIn. I came across our colleague actually through this channel, and so he educated me, and I became very interested in having the pleasure of having him as our guest. So the objective of his presentation is to help us to grow the businesses on autopilot without spending all their time on marketing. Raymond holds a PhD in organization and management with specialization in narrative psychology. In his spare time, he's an avid singer, songwriter, and he lives in Austin, Texas with his family. Without any due respect and without any further ado, I'd like to present you Dr. Pele. Please, Raymond, take over.
Oh, Amadi, thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity to meet you and your audience. And as you have already introduced, I'm here to, and I'm honored to be here, to talk about how to attract, convert, and grow a big ticket client base without spending all your time on marketing. So, you know, if we could we find some agreement on what the problem is? Would you agree that there is a big challenge out there in today's noisy world where people are trying to grow businesses and they find themselves sort of stuck in the marketing rut? Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that really is ground zero. Is we don't want to spend all our time on marketing. We want to be working on our businesses, not in our businesses.
Correct.
Now, it turns out that there are some amazing technologies that can help us to do these things, and some methodologies. So I'd like to share some of those with you. But the first thing is really, let's agree on this confusion that we have in the marketplace, right? You know, you go to Facebook, you go to LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, everywhere, everyone is shouting, talking about the same marketing things, and there's a lot of copycat marketing. And it really comes down to, how do we cut through the noise to get our messages heard, right? You know, if people could actually hear us, maybe they would think our products are great, but they can't even hear us. We're not getting through the noise. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we already talked about this, so I know we're going to be in violent agreement on some things. But, you know, I think that's the first thing we have to sort of step back and realize. You know, let's forget about our products for a second, forget about our customers even. Let's just realize that we have one huge problem, and that is the noise on the marketplace. So the question is, how do we cut through that noise, right? How do we get heard? I'm going to take you to a little bit of you know, we share PhDs. We're kind of research geeks, but I'm gonna just, if you could humor me, I'm gonna take you a little bit into some research and have you look at this diagram that I'm showing here, and you know, just work with me, have fun with this. What do you think is the taller or the larger object here, right? Is it the vertical object or is it the horizontal object? I'm gonna put you on the spot, Amadi.
Oh boy. Well, the object is the illusion that you see. So therefore, you on a naked eye, you look at it as a vertical, and so the vertical is larger. But again,
so you know, okay, now you're supposed to work with me, not reveal the solution, right?
Oh, sorry, apologies.
Okay, but you see, the thing is, Dr. Morty is absolutely right in that we all know that, you know, Dr. Pillay is trying to give us a trick here, okay? Yeah. The fact of the matter is, no matter how much we look at this object, we know intuitively that these are probably the same height, but our eyes refuse to allow us to see that. Our eyes are always going to focus on the fact that the vertical one appears longer, even though they're the same. Now, why is this? Part of it is because our brains are perfect because of evolution or whatever reasons out there. When we see an object standing, you know, the lion that is standing and coming towards us, it always looks more dangerous than the lion, which is, you know, lying down. Okay. Yeah. So we just can't get it out of our minds. And the trick here is that as a marketer of your product, we have to realize that our number one goal is to learn how to manipulate the way the mind receives information. As Harvard Business Review once wrote, 95% of our purchase decisions take place in the unconscious mind.
Yes.
And we've all heard about the emotional mind, right? Is where the decisions are made.
Yes.
Decisions are made in a place in the back of your amygdala, the back of your head. You don't even know why they're being made, but the emotion takes control. So if we could ever find a technology, if we could ever find a system that could allow us to bypass this mind that doesn't see things the right way, we could learn how to inspire and motivate our audiences. We could learn how to build rapport for our products and gain attention instantly on the marketplace. We could learn how to create empathy and persuade and clarify our messages to the point where they're memorable. And all of this is because people buy perceptions, not reality. The reality is that those two objects are the same height, but we can't get ourselves to stop seeing that the standing one is the one that's bigger or more dangerous. And
Yes.
this is the core. If you want to gain trust in the marketplace for your products, if you want to gain attention for your products, you have to go with perception, not reality. And that's the job of storytelling. Yes, narrative psychology is the key here. So what I want to show you is the three things that you have to get right in your marketing if you really want to just achieve all your goals in your business. The first is you got to get your market right. You got to understand exactly who that niche market. You can't please everyone. Who's the market? And then you have to have a message that matches that market. Okay. Once again, many messages will fail. You got to test and you got to figure out what does this market really want. And when you get that right, then you've got at least 2 out of the 3 of these things done right. But here's the thing most people neglect, and that is mindset. They neglect the fact that everything we do is being perceived, again, by that imperfect mind. So whether it's the story we're telling ourselves that allows us to persevere, or the story we're telling to the market that allows the market to come to us, it's all inside the technology of narrative psychology, right? And a lot of influence psychology and all of that is bundled into it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how we get big ticket clients, right? And that, by the way, is a different market from, is it a word, small ticket clients? I don't think that's a word, but definitely this is a very important niche, because if you're going to charge premium prices for your service, you've got to be able to go through mindset, market, and message and get people to a point where they realize that the outcomes that you're creating for them as a consultant or a coach, those outcomes are every penny or cent worth the money that you're charging them. So let's take a look at how that happens. First of all, you have to be able to find qualified leads, right? Where do you find these folks? Now, if you're in the business to business world, I am not even going to I'm not even going to hesitate to recommend to you that you've got to be on LinkedIn. All right. If you want qualified leads that are business to business focused, you got to be on LinkedIn. That will get you to revenue fast, maybe even faster than Facebook, and definitely without using any advertising, which is what you would find on Facebook. So finding qualified leads is one of the big things my clients ask me to do for them, and getting to qualified leads fast is a key thing. One of my clients, Matthew Warab, is founder and CEO of a patent consulting firm, was able to close a $15,000 contract per month, $15,000 per month in his first 30 days. And I'm proud that he calls me his go-to marketing guy. But this guy has really taken these technologies of narrative psychology to the next level. I mean, he literally talks like he got a PhD, like I did on this topic, right? He really went with it. And so it's possible to transform your business using the power of story and using marketing, using psychology within marketing very strategically. The next thing out of 3 things that you've got to do is you've got to know how to not only bring traffic to you, but how to convert right? Convert a consistent flow of ideal clients to pay premium prices. And I have to say, this is both an art and a science, all right? Because people may show up because they're interested, but can you take them all the way to the dance, right? There is a process for doing that. I'm sure you've heard of the idea that you can't ask someone to get married on a first date.
That's right.
All right. Well, if you've heard of that, I hope we all agree with that anyway. That's the issue. You've got to take people through specific psychological processes before they buy. Every human being requires a little bit of courting, right? And so that process is also something that we do using narrative psychology. And I have a client, actually, John Schober, who within a year was able to build a six-figure business right out of right out of leaving his job. He'd been at a regular job for many years and finally decided this was it. And from nothing, he was able to build a real income that is sustaining him now. I think he says to me, he actually has more job security as a consultant than he ever did as a job. So it's possible, folks. Now, the third and final thing that you've got to do is you have to learn how to use leverage. What I mean by that is you've got to be able to grow your business, optimize your business without actually working harder in your business. The paradox is amazing. The people that are making millions of dollars today online are not working as hard as you might think.
True.
I mean, would you agree with that?
Yes, of course.
Oh, I find it completely amazing. In fact, I think the last 30 plus days, and I put this out on my LinkedIn page, my particular production was $51,000 in one 30-day period. Look, I'm sorry to say, but I didn't work harder to do that. In fact, I worked less hard than back when I was struggling making $10,000, $5,000 a month. Okay. And so the key is to learn how to use leverage. Instead of a one-to-one model, you move to a one-to-many model. Instead of single coaching, which is hour-based, you move to group coaching, and you move to different marketing technologies that allow you to grow your business without growing your time input. I have a client who made that transformation. His name is Andrew Waterman. He's a data scientist. And basically, when his problem was this, we would work with him and he would get a contract, say like a $10,000 or a $20,000 contract, and then he'd be done. No more marketing because he would have to go do the work. He was basically a glorified employee for his company.
Yes.
And so we helped him switch that around, right? So now he actually runs a team and he has a process where he's making increasing income without spending increasing time in his business. So it all boils down to, and I've been saying this so far, narrative psychology, okay? And I'm going to give your audience, for free, one of my signature tools. Now, this is something that I've basically tested and researched, and if nothing else works for you, this will, okay? What I'd like you to do is go to your LinkedIn page when you have some time and ask yourself a question. Based on the psychology output, the story that I'm telling, is this or that element of my LinkedIn profile talking about me, myself, my product, or is it talking about you, my ideal client, my ideal company? And when you find that that little element, say maybe it's your title or it's your picture or it's your background or your summary, when you find that element is talking all about you, it's not working. It's probably not working for you. But if you find that it's talking about your client, it is working. Why? Because remember, we live in a world now where there's too much noise. No one has time to think about anything that you are bringing to the table when they first meet you. They only care about themselves. It's really very, very primitive in a sense. But the fact of the matter is, we sellers and service providers, we think too much about the greatness of our products. We talk about our processes, step 1, step 2, step 3. Nobody cares. All day we're saying, hey, look at me. I'm better than the competition. Nobody cares. But you know what? If you flip the script on your LinkedIn profile and it's 100% about they will listen. And when you meet them, use the same strategy. Talk about them. Okay, as you may remember, this thing, what is it called? WIIFM. What's in it for me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what's
everybody's operating on that same thing. But this tool gives you a very quick way to diagnose your own profile and a lot of your own marketing. Just ask yourself, wait a second, is that about me? Because if it is, it's not working. And is that about you? Yes, that works. So I hope that's a free gift that people can use. The ideal client's journey is, as we've discovered, it's a process. You got to go from interest to desire. And that's what we call marketing, frankly, raising interest and desire. But then you've also got to go through an educational process and then a process where people try out your product somehow. And that's a process we call sales. If you think about when you go to a car dealership and you love this car, you want this car, and then the very smart salesperson comes over and just gives you the key. You're like, hey, wait a second, you mean I get to drive this thing here? And they go, yep. When you get in the seat of that car and you start to kind of feel the emotion and you smell the leather and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm buying this. What they just did to you is the oldest sales trick in the world, which is education and trial, and it increases your emotions. And now when you drive back in and he says that'll be $50,000, you're like, where do I sign?
Yes.
Okay, because you sold. Powerful stuff. So we've got to get people through these processes. Nobody's going to get married to you on the first date. They got to go through these processes, and that's what I teach. I teach the process of helping you attract, convert, and grow your audience in LinkedIn or wherever your clients may be. If you're in B2B, your clients are on LinkedIn. If you're B2C, your clients are on Facebook. That's the rule of thumb. So mindset, we cover mindset. How do we convert you from a me to you, to cross the me to you gap? Your marketing, how do we go from wide to niche? Your message, we help you go from complex to clear. Your system, we help you build functions and funnels that will actually work without you. And then you got to have that story. You got to tell that powerful story, right? And then your strategy, and then we build an email tribe and so on and so forth until your audience begins to tell your story for you in the marketplace. That's how we get you from A to B. Now, when it comes to someone who's interested and wants to talk to you, you need a sales system that will move them from the automation that is inside LinkedIn or the automation that's the Facebook ads, okay? But I'm proposing LinkedIn if you're B2B, right? The automation inside of LinkedIn will get you leads, people literally waiting to talk to you. You have conversations with them, but then you've got to expose them to a pre-sell, to a story. That story is going to tell them everything, not about you, about them. That's the switch. The story that you tell is not the story of you, it's the story of your client. They are the hero. If you've ever heard of Joseph Campbell, when he talks about the hero's journey, or he talks about the idea that every human culture shares a story of the hero who has a problem and goes to the promised land and brings back the solution, and now we all are saved.
Yes.
That's the story you have to tell to your customers. But the difference is your customer is the hero, not you. Okay. And so once you get that story told, you get them to apply to talk to you. Yes, apply. There's got to be an authority situation here, because you know what? If they don't need you, then why are they here? Right? This is how you get big ticket clients. You make them apply to talk to you. Because guess what? You need to get an assessment of their data. They've got to qualify. You don't want to talk to just everyone. You want to talk to big ticket clients. But once they pass that stage, then they meet you in what I call a pain meeting. Now, the strategy of this meeting is pure storytelling psychology. But guess what you're doing? You're story listening, not storytelling. Okay. So I'll stop here because we're getting real deep now, right? Because when you start talking about funnels and conversion rates, we're really getting deep. But this is the technology that we use to build a business. Okay. And I'll stop here because I want to kind of ask the questions, of the other folks on our group here, what they think about this idea of attracting, converting, and growing big ticket clients. And by the way, you notice that there was a lot of automation going on. That's why you can say without spending all your time on marketing. So, Dr. Mardi, Take it
Thank
away.
you
What do you
so
think?
much. This is extremely valuable sort of information because, as you have said, we've worked with many ad agencies and brands around the globe.
Yep.
We've worked with many corporations that they are very cognizant of this kind of process because they're always in the motion of new client acquisitions, client retention, and client conversion. Especially you brought an area where it's very dear to us is the coach, the instructors. We work with a lot of colleagues at universities, education systems, with institutions like Pearson's that they teach English and different classes.
Yep.
And our goal and objective is obviously bringing those diversity through the use of real-time communication like what we use. But one of the elements that they always ask us, how do I find customers? How do I attract customers? And so, Dr. Pillay, we want to thank you for this opportunity that you have presented with your lecture, because this topic of attracting, converting, and growing big ticket business, both from B2B model and B2C model, is really dear to both of our clients' constituents.
Yeah.
How do they contact you, Dr. Pillay? Is it better to reach you through your email or through your website? How do you propose?
Well, a couple of ways to reach me. First of all, if you're on LinkedIn, just go to just type Dr. Pillay, and I'm probably the only one.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
If you're not on LinkedIn and you want to find me, my website is www.drpillay.com. That's DRPELE.com. I'm also on Facebook. Just search for big ticket clients or search for Dr. Pillay. But, you know, Dr. Marty, there's one thing I would love to just highlight quickly before we wrap up, and that is, if you notice one thread that was throughout this conversation, it's the idea of telling a story, okay? And one of the things that I find really powerful about your platform is it allows you to tell a story visually, okay? And I think that the key is in finding new clients is really getting them to that meeting, getting people from LinkedIn, get them out of LinkedIn, get them out of Facebook, get them to that meeting, and then use a tool like yours to have that visual storytelling opportunity. That to me is the key right there.
Precisely. And this has been also our mission in life, where we have, for the last 18 years, working with video, we always try to bring the power of broadcasting, collaboration, and communication in the hands of educators, the instructors, the coach like yourself, that you can multiply yourself. And we can collectively take your content and also put it in the hands of our other master system operators, where not only benefits you, but also our clients, and ultimately the vehicle that it brings it all together. So we definitely share that view with you. Another way that we also look at this subject is the diversity of colleagues, like yourself being at Austin, Maddie being in Bucharest, and I myself, let's say, in Isabela, Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to have that physical presence through the use of technology.
Absolutely.
You can connect, be the panelist, be the broadcaster, be the guest, and share the thoughts and the knowledge with the audience. So, any other comments, Dr.?
Well, no, just one more comment is, I assume we're broadcasting on Facebook at the moment. Is that correct?